Hi, my name is Ploy and I'm a DJ and the content creator here at Future Female Sounds. Today I'm going to be showing you different methods of transitioning using effects, BPM, looping, the crossfader, and also the channel faders. I'm going to be taking you with me on a bird's eye view using this GoPro so that you can see exactly what I'm doing as I explain it. So first of all, we're going to start by using the crossfader to make a very basic transition. I've already gone ahead and loaded my two tracks that I'm going to be transitioning between, and also very importantly to make sure that the BPM is matching on both of the tracks. If you want to do a crossfader transition, you're going to want to make sure that the crossfader settings on each of the individual tracks are either set to A for this one and B for this one. So this is going to make sure that the crossfader is going to be assigned to each of the tracks when you want to do the transition. I'm going to first do the transition and then afterwards I will walk you through it again. Okay, so basically what I did here, again, is to make sure that the individual crossfader settings are either set to A for the A side or B for the B side. Of course, you have to also make sure that these are on the correct channels that you will be using. So to do the crossfader transition, you can go ahead and have both of the volume sliders turned up, and then you just use the crossfader to transition between each track to each track. When you're doing a crossfader transition, it's very important to also have a listen in your headphones beforehand. Make sure that everything is beat matched, otherwise it's not going to sound so great when you transition from one song to the other. I'm going to show you what it sounds like when the tracks are not beat matched. Okay, so we don't want it to sound like that, so remember to beat match. For the next transition, I'm going to show you how to make a transition using the EQ buttons. As we explained before, there are 3 buttons and they are the lows, the mids, and the highs. Every DJ mixes differently, so it's very important that as you practice over time, you can train your ears to hear exactly what parts of the song fit to each of the EQ buttons, and then you're going to get better at knowing which ones to use or which EQ to fade in and out when you're trying to transition. So first I'm going to show you how I would do an EQ transition, and then I'll break it down afterwards again. What you just saw me do there was a very basic transition using the EQ buttons. On the track that I was mixing into, I like to have the bass turned all the way down, and I like to have the mids kind of maybe 1/4 of the way turned up, because this is going to be, you know, the main rhythmic elements of the song, and you don't want to ambush the track that you're currently playing by having too many conflicting rhythms coming in. So I like to adjust these two, the mids, very slowly in and out of each other to make sure that everything sounds good and not too crazy or not too confusing for the listener. And then finally, I like to switch up the bass in one motion to create impact between the two songs. With the highs, I like to adjust them very bit by bit because they're very nice to use to add or take away space from a song, and I really like to always kind of like have the space turned up in my tracks, so I don't fiddle with those too much unless the two songs have a lot of conflicting hi-hats or higher rhythms. I'll show you maybe some other ways to transition using the EQ buttons. Okay, so as you can see in these two tracks, the vocals came in at around the same time. So there it's also really important to pay attention to the mids, again, so that you can adjust which of the track's vocals and rhythmic attributes you want to showcase the most. Next, I'm going to go through all of the effects and show you how you can add a bit more flavor and punch to your mixes. Here you have some basic effects which you can control using these buttons. So if you wanted to use any of these, space, dub echo, gate, noise, crush, or filter, you just click them, and then on the track that's playing, you can control them like this. So towards the low, it's more of a low pass version of this effect, and then the highs will be like this. So I'll show you what that sounds like with each of them first. When I activate each of these filters, what I'm doing with this knob is that I'm controlling if the filter affects the high frequencies or the low frequencies of the song. So let's move on to these filters. So you can see there's quite a lot of different filters here. And also the way that you activate them via each track is that you can turn this knob. So here it assigns the filters to channel 1. So that's the track that I'm playing now. And then it goes all the way up to 2, 3, 4, microphone, and then you can also control the entire master output by each of those filters. In order to use the filters on this side of the mixer, you're going to want to go ahead and choose your filter by twisting this knob here, and you can see exactly which one you want to choose. Then you're going to want to assign it to the track that you're playing, or you can also assign it to the microphone or the master output. And the way that you do that is by twisting this knob here to choose. So right now I'm playing from the first channel, so I'm going to go ahead and select that one. And the way that you activate the filter is by pressing this nice on and off button right here. And you can control the depth of it by using this knob as well. Another really cool feature that the mixer has is that if you want to be very on point with the way that your effects match your beat, you can even beat match the effects to the track that you're playing. And you can do this in two ways. Either you can quantize it, and that's going to automatically match the BPM of the effect to the track that you're playing. You can also match the effects to the beat of your song by tapping it to the rhythm of the track. And I'm going to show you what this sounds like now. Now I'm going to be taking you through a basic transition using beat matching. So, BPM. What is BPM? BPM is beats per minute. That is how many beats your song has per minute. So it sounds pretty straightforward, but it's very important to remember this as you're mixing, because you're going to want to match the BPM of one track to another to make sure that your mixes are flawless and seamless and sound good. I'm going to turn the track up, and then we're going to count to the BPM together so that you understand exactly what it is we're looking for. So now that we have a basic understanding of what the BPM is, I will show you how to transition from one track to the other by beat matching. On my first track, the BPM is 123. And on my second track currently, it doesn't match up because it's at 119.3. We're going to want to slide the tempo adjuster to make sure that they match. And now they're both at 123. Once you have the BPMs aligned on both of the tracks, you're going to want to put on your headphones and have a listen to make sure that everything sounds good and aligned before you mix and send it up. Okay, there I just showed you what it sounds like when the two tracks are aligned and in time with each other. And then just now, when I adjust the jog wheel, I showed you what it sounds like when the tracks are not aligned with each other. And that's what we don't want, which was this. No go. Another way to make sure that the tracks are aligned is by following along these two. And here you can see exactly which bar of the song that each track is. So here you can see that they're not in time. So we can adjust them either by listening to it in your headphones or by looking along here. So here they should be more aligned. Let's see what that sounds like. And again, when they're not aligned. And you can also see this by following along here. You can see that each of the tracks are not aligned on the same downbeat. Now the tracks should be more or less aligned on the downbeat, as you can see here. So let's see what that sounds like. Okay, these two tracks do not sound good together, actually. So with those two tracks, they didn't really sound that great together, and the rhythms didn't really align, even though I perfectly beat matched it and everything was perfectly aligned on the downbeat. So again, this is the real work of being a DJ. You really have to train your ears, see what sounds good, make the adjustments. Using the EQs, you can use the effects. You cannot only rely on visually looking at where the downbeat lands. You're still going to have to listen in your ears and make sure that everything sounds right, and adjust using the jog wheels, because sometimes the actual downbeat of the song won't be displayed correctly. So you shouldn't rely only on that. You should always use your ears, train your ears, practice mixing. And that is DJing in its purest form. It's just training your ears, practicing, getting to know your music, and making the adjustments that you need to make. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.